What is going on, Clippers fans? Welcome to season 2, episode 51 of Clips and Dip. Hopefully, your favorite Clippers podcast, one of them you listen to, also hopefully. I am Chuck Mockler, joined by Will Updike and Adam Osland. We're going to talk the Kawhi injury. We are going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Clippers' issue against larger teams. Some of those larger teams happen to be just some of the better teams in basketball. And then we're going to talk. There was a poll sent out to Clippers season ticket holders about jersey retirements at Intuit. So that's something we're going to discuss. But before we get into all that, I mentioned them just now. They're fantastic co-hosts, great people. Adam, Will, how you doing on this dry, cold Los Angeles evening?
I'm good. I'm surprised this is episode 51. I thought that was last week since Will didn't want to call it 50.
This is 51 part 2.
Oh, it's like Dune.
It's exactly like Dune.
I'm good. It's good to be on with you guys once again. Will, how we doing?
I'm good. Yeah, I actually missed last night's game, so you guys are gonna have to break it down for me. Tell me what went wrong. So I'm excited to hear about that. I think we all just are a little stunned, shocked, upset, crying, baffled by this recent Kawhi news. I know I threw up.
Yeah, yeah. When the injury report came out, I also vomited on the public transit situation I was in.
I held your guys' hair back.
Yeah, man, I wish I knew
simultaneously.
Yeah, Kawhi Leonard ruled out with a left abductor strain by the Clippers on Tuesday, February 13th. Yeah, that is the information we have. We had no indication that was going to happen. He has looked tired. I think that's fair to say. He's not tired, but he's been working really hard. The Clippers have had an absurd schedule. The abductor strain is not something that seems like a cut and dry injury time thing. We had some speculation from La Murray about it that we'll get into, but yeah, I don't know. Adam, how are you feeling? We're going to talk about the Warriors game. We might as well kind of talk about it now. It really changes things ahead of that game, but bigger picture, what's your scale of worry? I have lit a candle. For those of you on youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast, you can see my candle is lit, that nothing else crazy happens. Adam Awesome.
I'm not overly concerned at this point. I'm guessing this means he'll miss the All-Star game. And quite frankly, when you're a team that is only going to be defined by what happens in the postseason, and we have evidence by that before because Kawhi Leonard won the All-Star game MVP, and then no one cared when they ended up losing to the Denver Nuggets in the postseason in the bubble. So I feel like, especially for someone like Kawhi Leonard, it's all about what happens in the postseason. And if this gives him extra rest on other parts of his body that could be aching right now, okay, as long as it's not some long lingering issue going on. Last 6 games from him, he's still averaging 25 on 53% shooting, 54% from the outside. So as much as he has struggled or played down to a level we haven't seen over the last 2.5 months because he's been so god tier, he still has been pretty damn good. So if he was playing through it, he was able to still put up some good numbers and be their best player against Minnesota last night.
Yeah, Will, where that just made me feel much more calm. Where are you at?
Mild concern. I feel like I would be more concerned if it wasn't the last game before the All-Star break.
Totally.
It seems like timing-wise makes sense. Get an extra couple days of rest. Why not? I will say, though, with the adductor strain, what's going on with these Clippers groins? We got some soft groins going on. Got to work on that. And I'm not overall concerned. I mean, just looking at the box score last night, 213 looked more like 106.5. But, I'm not too concerned.
106. That's the first time I've ever heard someone refer to two. I got it. Thank you. Thank you for explaining that, man. I don't know. That caught me off guard.
I went right back to my alternate radio station up in NorCal growing up, Quad 106.5. I was like, does Will know I used to listen to that all the time?
He knows as much about Korkmaz. Now he's got the Osland dossier. So last game, like you mentioned, last game before the All-Star break. And also, it is an away game. Just stay home, Kawhi. Don't even make the 40-minute flight up to the Bay for this. I'm fine if he goes to San Diego or whatever he does. Like, just hang, man. We all know you're part of the team. You've been great this year. You don't gotta be there. I'd be fine with him staying home. We also didn't want Paul George to play, but he ended up playing. But that's a different thing.
So what? They're 2-2 so far this season without Kawhi, and two of those games, the two losses were blowouts, with in OKC and then back home at Crypto against the Boston Celtics. Correct? Who were the two wins they had in there without Kawhi Leonard?
Let me look.
I was trying to think of that earlier. Because this is why you have James Harden. This is why you added that firepower in case one of 213 or 106.5 is out. You have somebody to fill in some of the scoring load and help them out. And going 500 without the Claw is successful. They were able to pull it off the entire 21-22 season. Small sample size, thank goodness, so far this season. This will just be, again, his 5th game miss tomorrow night on the year. But two of those games were extremely lopsided losses by the Clippers. Those two losses they had without Kawhi were a little bit alarming, and you could just see the defensive impact without him and how much it was lacking.
Here are the wins that we have without Kawhi. We beat the Hornets and we beat the Grizzlies. Those were the two statement wins without Kawhi Leonard. In the other two games, we lost by 37 points to the Celtics and 19 to the Thunder. We're playing a team in between those four tomorrow night. I think the Warriors are a little in between those two. But I mean, of course, like, I'm sure people are wondering, is there going to be more information? No. If you followed this team long enough, it sucks. We just gotta wait until maybe the pregame presser tomorrow night from Ty Lue, but I don't think we're not going to be getting any concrete information. So I'm just hoping people don't get their hopes up for that, which seems to happen every time.
What did Law Murray say or shed light on Twitter?
Law said,
share the screen.
I'm not sharing the rundown. That's privileged information.
Share the cat.
The cat will be back. Trust me, those people, the cat will be back. Law said the fact that Kawhi Leonard is already ruled out, not even a questionable tag, suggests that it would be surprising for him to play in the All-Star game. That injury takes several days to get over, and I think he could be questionable at best for the OKC Memphis back-to-back, which is what the Clippers come home to, which is kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I hope. Timing-wise, if you're looking for a bright spot, it's good that it happens now as they have the All-Star break for him to rest up. And not just him, Paul George, Ivica Zubac. The timing probably couldn't be better for this Clippers team right now, but you don't want to have a foot out the door. You still want to get that victory and do what you can against the Golden State Warriors tomorrow, who are playing much better.
Yeah, the Warriors look a little terrifying right now. It's not the right time to be playing the Warriors without Kawhi Leonard for the Clippers. They've won 5 in a row. They're shooting 42% from 3 on 35 attempts from 3 per game in that stretch. Top 5 in assists per game in the league right now over these last 5 games. And here's one that's curious. 96 field goals attempted per game, the most in the league over the last 5 games. Clippers are dead last in the league over the last 5 games with 82. Will, how you feeling about this matchup, sans Kawhi?
Man, this is going to be a difficult one, but I feel like you really don't want to limp into the All-Star break on the back of a couple of losses. So, I don't know. This is going to be a difficult one.
Who do we think? So Amir's starting, right?
I would assume.
Yeah, it'll likely be Amir Coffey. He started when Paul George was out. I'm trying to think, though, in the 4 games that Kawhi Leonard was out, did Amir start all those games? I don't know if he did. But it would make the most sense. Let's just assume Amir Coffey is starting. He's playing fantastic basketball right now. I wish he got more shots up yesterday against Minnesota. Did a lot of his damage in inconsequential time late in that ball game. But Amir he's been the hottest player on the team, over even hotter than Kawhi over the last month now. Obviously the volume isn't there, but he's been fantastic with his shooting and just having the confidence to put them up from the outside. Something I'm looking for more from Terrence Mann when it comes to that.
we're gonna need Terrence to play a little bit better in this one. I mean, obviously with Kawhi being out, but people were a little. He looks tired though too. I said this on Twitter at the Clippers pod account. Like, I think when you think about fatigue, your head kind of goes like the stars, right? You go to 2-1-3 and Harden and Zoo. I mean, Amir and Terrence look tired too. They're having to work. They're working really hard. They're playing really well. It's very hard to play the best team basketball you've ever played for an entire season for the first time, kind of in your career. So those guys are tired too. Like, but yeah, I think, and it was Amir all 4 of those games that Kawhi was out. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. But who's getting the Steph assignment?
I assume it's going to be Terrence Mann, and they'll switch with him and Amir Coffey some, but
yeah.
And PG-13. They were switching everything early on in the game against Minnesota yesterday and throughout it. But this Golden State Warriors team just blew out the Jazz on the road with Markkanen playing. A team that didn't have, a substantial sell-off to the point where they traded Markkanen or Colin Sexton or anybody like that. So you would have thought, oh, they're kind of keeping the group together. They're making a run at the play-in. And they got smoked by the Warriors last night, 129-107. And Golden State finally has taken the governor off of Jonathan Kuminga. That's been the big revelation for them. They're starting Draymond at center, and they have Jonathan Kuminga next to him with Wiggins, Steph, and Klay Thompson, who's kind of assuming a new role now, not playing in some fourth quarters. He's feeling his basketball mortality, or at least having to turn into more of a role player than the star he used to be. So this is a team that it's kind of like the pieces are starting to come together. They're fitting very well. That game against the Phoenix Suns had legs. I think that's why they blew out Utah to that extent. They're just really in tune at the moment.
Yeah, I was looking at just Steph's numbers specifically over this stretch. He's taken 13 threes a game, and he's hitting them at a cool 51%.
Yeah, he's taken more threes than ever, which is kind of saying something for the best shooter of all time. And it's working. I mean, that shot that he hit against Phoenix, when people criticize Steph Curry all the time for not hitting shots at the end of games, who do you want the ball? I want Iguodala. That type of stuff. Steph has had I think he has the best clutch numbers in the game this season during clutch time. It's Steph Curry by a wide margin. So they are surging at the moment. The Clippers are going to have their hands full.
Will, do you think without Kawhi we'll see small ball lineups?
I mean, we've just been leaning into them so much. I feel like it would make sense. Maybe you go, I don't know, like maybe you mix it up though and do try to take advantage of the size against a smaller team. I mean, I feel like that, especially with like how the offense has kind of looked as of late. I feel like we just keep saying the same thing, but it's like, maybe get the big men going a little bit, maybe get some pick and roll going, get some paint touches. Like maybe let's do more than like dribble out most of a shot clock and get an ISO possession. I think that'd be pretty cool.
You'd be on board with that. The Warriors have been going small. They have this lineup of Steph, Podzimski, who they really like, Wiggins, Pods, Kuminga, and
he's killed the Clippers before, hasn't he?
I think so.
They're what? They're 2-1 against them. They had the big 22-point comeback with the Paul George game winner over Clay, but they lost up in San Francisco, where they'll be tomorrow. So they won 2 games against them at home, and this is what, the final game of the 4 in the Pac-Div, Chuck?
Yeah, we played 3 like super close to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Pods has had 13 and Pods had 13 and 8 the first time we played.
Yeah, I think that was the game I was thinking of.
Their loss to them was really after the first game where the Clippers started to activate Kawhi Leonard going into Terminator mode, where they played Sacramento on the front end. Yep. And then that next night they were in San Francisco. They lost to Golden State, looked a little bit gassed. But obviously there's not a lot to take out of those games now because Golden State looks like a completely different animal.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Clippers running into a buzzsaw just a little bit before the All-Star break, which I don't feel super good about. It does make picking of the player of the game a little bit easier. The Kawhi Leonard Player of the Game award.
Yes.
On YouTube. Oh, Adam, we don't know if you were there for this. Someone on YouTube had the great idea that since we can't pick Kawhi Leonard as player of the game, the award should be called the Kawhi Leonard Player of the Game Award, so he can still be made.
No, it's perfect. It's
Great idea.
Our
Fantastic
listeners
idea.
are brilliant.
Smart people. I've always said everyone who listens to the podcast is very smart for the most part. Adam, who is your Clippers Player of the Game against the Warriors? Kawhi Leonard, excuse me. Who is your Clippers Kawhi Leonard Player of the Game pick?
I'm going to go with the guy I criticized earlier. It wasn't Steph Curry. It was Terrence Mann, who I think he got up 3 shots against Minnesota. He simply hasn't been aggressive enough. As well as he is shooting the ball, it's on a very small sample size right now in 2024. When he turned it around from the outside, I need to see him put him up. Now, he's still enough of a threat that Rudy Gobert in that game yesterday closed out on a 3-pointer with him. He took him off the dribble and went to the basket and got the layup. That was his only made shot. But Terrence Mann has to be more aggressive right now. If you're going to be the starting lineup next to 2-1-3, you do have to take advantage of the opportunities that you get to maintain being that threat out there on the court, so you make life easier on everyone else. So without Kawhi in this one, I want to see him get up 10 shots. I do. I want to see Terrence Mann play with force, get downhill. It feels like it's still just a down-off year for him right now. It is. As much as he has shot the ball better from the outside in 2024, we still haven't had enough of those signature Terrence Mann games. He was great against Boston in that blowout victory they had on the road. But there haven't been enough games where he's made his mark and you've really felt his presence. Now, he doesn't hurt you most of the time either.
Right.
And that's the good thing about him. But I want the Golden State Warriors have to deal with the impact of Terrence Mann playing with confidence, because when they have had comebacks over the years, when they have had big victories, his fingerprints were all over those. He would always make an impact, especially in second halves of ball games, just being that spark out there. I need that from Terrence Mann tomorrow.
Adam needs it. Have we considered that PJ Tucker is maybe sapping Terrence Mann's shooting ability so he can have it when he gets his shot called? Have we considered
he's
that?
rogue?
Yeah, maybe he's rogue. Yeah, Terrence being really good we're gonna need him to crack this Warriors defense, who their offense has been playing great. Their defense has 104 rating over the 5 games.
And that's all aside from him having to guard Steph Curry and do a good job there. But I also need his offense in this game is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Will, your Kawhi Leonard Player of the Game pick for Clippers versus Warriors?
I'm going with Norm. I know that we're only like 2 games removed from an 18-point performance in that loss to the Pelicans, but I'm ready for some nuclear Norm. I'm ready for him to kind of go off, and I think that that could just be kind of the spark that we need to get over this team, because
he can get hot.
Our defense apparently isn't stopping him, so
he can get hot.
Let's score some points.
Score some points, boys.
Chuck,
I'm gonna go someone who we're gonna talk about in the next segment, who got criticized a little bit on Twitter with some fair points for when it comes to playing teams with size. I know that's not the Warriors, but I'll tell you who's really gonna help the Clippers play well without Kawhi Leonard. James Harden. We need James Harden to be aggressive with the ball. We need to have him he's usually made the right read. Turnovers haven't been bad, but when they come, they kind of, it's in multiple in a row is what it feels like. So James Harden, give us a triple double. Very doable. We need it against this version of the Warriors. Please give us a triple. I will say, please.
Long history of going up against the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry.
Yeah. Also, a very weird aside. This was pointed out by a Twitter user at Celine FT. 3rd season in the row where the Clippers play the Warriors on Valentine's Day.
Is that right?
It is.
Love it.
No love lost.
They should keep doing that at Intuit. Just cuz. Why not? Why not be the only team that has a weird Valentine's series like once a year? Something to it.
What's the Clippers' record in those Valentine's Day matchups?
I don't know off the top of my head. You got to go to Basketball Reference, buddy.
Stat Muse.
Buddy, you better get to Basketball Reference. Like a pioneer.
Did Basketball Reference take your job?
Yeah, it's the Dust Bowl. I was the stat guy. And then Basketball Reference took her jobs. All right, we're getting off the rails. We got to fill Will in on what happened against a very large Timberwolves team last night. It's indicative of some other issues maybe the Clippers have. We're going to talk about that after this break. If you're listening via podcast, thank you so much for the listen. We really appreciate it. If you're watching, you don't have to deal with this, but the ads have been loud for some people over on audio. If that's been the case for you, go ahead and turn it down. We got ads and then the Clippers size issue talk coming up in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, welcome back in to Clips and Dip. We decided collectively the sky isn't falling after Kawhi Leonard is going to be out for the last game before the All-Star break. But we're coming off the heels of kind of a recurring theme. I know a lot of fans out there are worried about it, so we're going to talk about it. It's the Clippers versus size. And as I stated up top, I was unfortunately unable to catch this game. So where are you guys at? Tell me what went wrong.
Well, they were up by 4 at the half after a fast and furious run to end the second quarter, knocked down a couple of three-pointers. James Harden hits a buzzer beater. Then they start the third quarter, and the T-Wolves go on an 8-0 run. And they had taken, I think, just 6 free throws in the first half, and they took 13 in the third quarter alone. Anthony Edwards had just 6 points in the first half, and I think he had 13 points in the third quarter alone. Weird numerology stuff going on. But the
Valentine's
game completely,
Day, Warriors, crazy. This episode's crazy.
Coinky dinky. They unraveled at the end of that third quarter. And I'm not putting it on one guy, but
if you were to,
it was a rough stint from Russell Westbrook. It was a rough stint in the game from Terrence Mann offensively, just not being aggressive enough. And at the end of that third, they lose that quarter by 21 points. They lose the game by 21 points. They got outscored 40-19 in the third quarter. That was the game right there. I'm not pointing fingers at anyone. I'm pointing fingers at me. It was on me, guys. Start with yourself. But some of those missed layups. Okay, he missed 2 layups and a dunk in the span of, 4 possessions. And it turned into
Russ?
It turned into 7 points going the other way. And it's been happening more and more frequently, especially against good teams with size, which we'll talk more about here. I appreciate the aggressiveness and trying to go at Rudy Gobert. It wasn't happening. I thought he had a really good stint in the first half, but in that third quarter, the Clippers, they let go of the rope a little bit.
He took 5 threes. He should never be taking.
They dared
5
him.
Threes.
They dared him.
The ball was funneling to Russ on the perimeter, and that's a win. Look, I love good chaos Russ. His first 2 possessions were good chaos. He got to the rim, and he made a layup, and he got fouled. And then it was like, dude, 5 threes. It's like, fuck. Like, that's what a free safety does with a team like Minnesota who defends so well already, that if they can just play free safety, it's like, sure, take the threes, Russ. We'll gladly let you take 5 threes. I didn't lose us the game, but it didn't help.
So yeah, I mean, it's so easy to game plan, like he gets a ton of space to shoot open threes. And then I just feel like even when he's going into the basket, it's like, don't get in front of him. Don't risk a foul. Just be ready to grab the defensive board and take it to the other end. Like, he's going to miss. Don't even bother.
My issue is, if you're going to go small, which they did, and that's how they ended the first half, and they kind of caught the Timberwolves by surprise. They went small. It worked. It can work in spurts. It has in the past against Rudy Gobert. Guess what, guys? This is not the Utah Jazz from 2021. They have all these great perimeter defenders. I talked about it before the first matchup against the Timberwolves. They have been the number 1 rated defense from pretty much the first week of the season on. They have consistently been great on that end. They have the best personnel to guard the Clippers that I have seen of any team in the 2-1-3 era. They do, outside of what they bring with Rudy Gobert to support that. And the Clippers are going small in the third again. And it's like, well, if you're going to go small, why not do it? If you're going to call it 5 out all 5 guys need to be able to shoot, right?
Real
Well,
5 out. Yeah.
Russell Westbrook is not a shooter. He's also not finishing at the rim. So what exactly is he doing to benefit them in this 5-out lineup to try to spread out that tough defense? And look, I love Russ, but frenetic, chaotic, highly volatile ball doesn't always work against great teams with great defenses, and especially in the postseason in a 7-game series. Like, I don't think it's a good matchup for us at all. But they've been playing him more and trying to make it work with 2-1-3 and James Harden. And overall, it has worked much better the last couple of months. But when you go against big teams like this and you're trying to go 5 out and spread them out, what is the role with Russ? Oh, he's a rebounder. He pushes the pace. I don't see it. I don't see how it's going to be effective against a defense that good.
Right.
In the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I'm curious your guys' thoughts on this because, once again, a recurring theme, not to dump on Russ. He does some great stuff.
No.
But when we have games like this versus like a really good Russ performance, like which one do you think lineup-wise Ty Lue is taking more data from? Because I think like we know Ty Lue is a sample size guy, right? Like which one of these are making it into his journal and which ones are like, I
don't know why journal makes me laugh. That's exactly what it is. I don't know why.
You don't keep a little journal of things that are working and not working?
I do, but it's just funny to think of when I think about Ty Lue writing in a journal. It's like, anyway, I think he takes the good ones and he's a point guard guy. Like this is.
So you think he's learning nothing from these when it's a bad stretch?
I'm not saying he's learning nothing from these when it's a bad stretch. That's a bit of a jump there. I think the minutes restriction on Zoo makes things way harder than Ty Lue's letting on. And again, I don't mean that in like a goddamn thing. For those of you listening, Will has made my name smarter than Ty Lue, which I'm not. But it's just kind of weird right now, right? You got the Zoo thing, and I'm not putting it all on that, but I think he takes the good things. He's a point guard guy. Like it wouldn't surprise me if that, so you know what I mean? Like
part of the problem was not only was he on a minutes restriction, Zoo just hasn't looked like himself yet. He picked up his 4th foul, I think, early in the 3rd quarter, and that's when he said, okay, F it, we're going small. You know why? Because Mason Plumlee gave them nothing in the first half. Mason Plumlee has to play much better than he has since coming back from injury. Against the bigger teams, which is why you have him, he has to be more effective out there. I don't know what's going on with him, if he's still working himself back into his own rhythm, if he's still getting back in shape, because that was a serious knee injury. We were concerned that, hey, he could be out for the season. It looked bad. It was scary. But he just had nothing for him in the first half. And, I mean, he had a turnover, I think, on his first possession.
Yeah.
Point Plum. Like, we're not just talking about doing the things that big men do. He's playing outside of himself, turning the basketball over, making terrible decisions. I've been a little bit, like, I love Big Plum as much as anyone, you know that, but I've been a little bit surprised with the poor play
at the losers
as of late. Gonna speed right past that.
So I'm curious about that too. Like Tice, only saw him in garbage time. Seems like he's been the one who's the odd man out of the bigs in the rotation.
No, he got in late in that third when things completely went to hell. He was on the court, I believe, when Russ was trying to go downhill.
It takes a Zoo minutes restriction and Plumlee to be playing really bad that day, and that's when Daniel Tice gets in the game.
We're talking about something like a 35-11 run from the end of the third into the fourth by Minnesota.
I mean, 40-19 is already crazy. That was the whole 12 minutes right there. Yeah, the Tice thing is interesting. There's a contingent of people who want the Clippers, and again, Will, you've talked about this. Every year the Clippers have two centers. It doesn't matter. People want them to play together. People want Ty Lue to try Daniel Tice and Ivica Zubac out there together, or
let's not.
It's not. What is it you, man?
Guys. Okay, let me point this out.
Offensively,
they tried PJ Tucker next to Ivica Zubac. I know it was ineffective, but you tried it.
Sure.
The small ball was ineffective. it's not going to work for a sustained period of time because it just takes the legs out of Kawhi and Paul George when they have to play defense. When Kawhi's having to guard Rudy Gobert and getting dunked on like that, that has an effect on the other end eventually. That's why I'm saying it's a little bit on the gimmicky side to play small against a team this big. You might have to find some other solution. That's all I'm saying. And the only way to find it is to actually try some things out there. Daniel Tice is shooting 40% from three. I know it's on like 40 shots from the outside. It's not a very high volume.
We want the ball funnel into Tice now on the perimeter.
No, but I'm saying if he's wide open and still making those 3-pointers as he has been with teams playing off of him, you can hurt teams that way. Until they stop it or until he starts going cold from three, how about we see what a bigger sample size could actually look like with him out there?
I just looked at what Russ is shooting from three. It's 28%. Sorry. You're not wrong, but I didn't realize Russ was shooting 28% from three. I just don't know, like the Tice and Plumlee thing, or the Tice and Zoo, or the whatever combination of the two of the three centers we have playing together.
I'm saying it's unlikely to work.
Totally.
Also, what has been happening is unlikely to work. So why don't we try this other thing we haven't even gone to yet? Again, they tried PJ next to Zoo. Why not give Tice a try?
When is PJ coming back?
In March.
Fuck. Hey. Hey, cheers to that, man.
Maybe tomorrow against Draymond. I don't know.
It's a good call. Law Murray brought up an interesting thing kind of when asked, this is the Law Murray episode, when asked how Clippers can improve against a team like the Wolves. And he mentioned that the Timberwolves give you the mid-range. But the Clippers, in Law's words in this game, they didn't run around or move. So it makes the game a little bit harder on them than maybe it could be, or something like that. Kawhi's built, Adam, you and I talked about this postgame on AM 570. Kawhi's built to beat the Timberwolves. His offense is perfect for this, right? Like it's right there in that mid range. You know, they're giving you the spots, but
I like your point, Adam, about defensively, like how he's getting worn down in these lineups, and that's one of those things that has to be considered. Just because he can do it on both ends of the floor, it doesn't mean that he should. Like it's different, obviously, in the playoffs. That's a completely different beast. But in the regular season, it's just a lot to ask of your stars, especially in a season where you're already getting the best production out of them that you've gotten maybe in the entire 2-1-3 era.
Most.
Yeah, and I mean that's part of it, right? Yeah. Like you're getting because of the availability and just how they've approached the season this year. But yeah, I like your point about how it's too taxing for those guys, and that needs to be the biggest goal, is preserving both of those guys for the playoffs. I'm even fine. Like, you know, we've been talking about seeding, and obviously we want to stay top 3, but like those guys' health and optimum performance is like first, second, and third for me.
Healthy 3 seed over limping into the playoffs.
Of course. I mean, anytime, like anytime.
Especially in the West right now, because I don't think there's that big of a difference. It's matchup dependent, but between some of those teams that you could be seeing in the first round anyways. There are some, if Golden State or the Lakers get in there and you're playing one of them, that's a really tough opponent in the first round. If it's the Pelicans, if it's the Sacramento Kings, there's no easy out going on in the West. And I don't think there's as much of a difference. I know there's 4 teams that have separated themselves, but I'm not sure there's as much of a difference as there is record-wise, talent-wise, because the Phoenix Suns are what, currently 5th?
6th.
5th or 6th.
We would play the Suns in the first round if the playoffs started tomorrow.
That's one of the most talented teams on paper in the league. Their record is injury influenced and not building up chemistry yet with Bradley Beal, but lately they're much better than that. So as Will said on your guys' last show on the live, like you're not playing the record, you're playing the team now, what they look like now, what the personnel they have now available.
Yeah, which is funny because we were just talking about the exact same thing with the Warriors who we're playing tomorrow. Like we're not playing the last in the pack div Warriors or whatever it is.
Bill Parcells was wrong. You are, your record says you are. I'm sorry. There's no context to that.
Speaking on the mid-range thing, I picked Harden to be the player of the game. He's getting put in the mid-range, and it's kind of helping defenses. He's shooting 34% on driving floaters, and he's shooting 38% on pull-ups within the perimeter. So, like, Harden in the mid-range, we asked him to do the catch-and-shoot thing. He did it. We love it. Wonderful results. We got to hope these shots start falling, because that little lob, the thing that looks like a lob to Zoo, but it's really a floater, like, that's not really going in right now. You know what I mean? Like, the deceleration is there. He's one of the best guys at stopping and, on a dime and things like that. But the shot has to start falling, because if he gets going in the mid-range, I feel infinitely better than if he's not against the team, specifically like the Timberwolves.
And even though they're giving you the mid-range, it's like, well, okay, but it's still Jaden McDaniels guarding you in the mid-range. They're not giving it
Right.
to you. They're just
Yeah.
all that means is Gobert is in drop. Like, he's not going to come help, and he doesn't need to, because they have really good defenders already.
Yeah. Jaden McDaniels, Federal Way legend.
This is the point that you were making earlier in the show, Chuck. I think right off the top, but it's not just that you're losing to a team with size. You're losing to one of the best teams in the NBA that happens to be big. Now, maybe there's some correlation there too, because I don't know, size matters right now in the NBA, or it's starting to go back that direction.
The
maybe,
seed, like on their side.
But the Timberwolves are just really damn good. They've been the best defense all season long, and they wrecked the Clippers yesterday, who, understandably, yes, they weren't completely sharp. They didn't have Big Zoo going 30 minutes. They didn't have a fresh Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, but that's what you deal with a lot of squads right now at this time of the year. It's not just the Clippers waiting for the All-Star break to get right. It's a lot of teams.
Yeah. We had some people on Twitter. We just kind of asked people how they were feeling. We had a couple size takes. Will, what do you think of there were some rational takes, I would say, for the most part on here. Drift to the Music said, I feel the same as I ever did even prior to the Harden trade. Clippers need size. I will stand on that hill until it's addressed. First time I ever heard stand on that hill, as opposed to die.
He's not die.
He's just chilling.
Not going to die on the hill.
I'm not going to die. I'll stand.
Doesn't believe it that much, but stand for sure.
He's looking down at the dead bodies of people who doubted his philosophy.
Yeah, he might be. Will, where are you at on that?
Before the Harden trade, like, what more size did you want with like Rocco and Batum and stuff on the team? Like, how much bigger could we have really gotten? You want to do the double? You want to do the double centers at one time? It's an issue. I think they're built to be good in small ball lineups. They certainly on paper, the personnel and everything makes sense. And I don't know. I'm still in a rate, like, we've seen this only obviously in the regular season, and I do trust that it's something that we'll be able to manipulate a little bit more in a 7-game series. But it's kind of like we were talking about before. For the most part, these offenses of these bigger teams really struggles. Like, they already kind of struggle. And while they've been able to certainly stymie the Clippers so far in the regular season, I don't know that you would hold out on that for a 7-game series. And if the Clippers are getting stops of their own onto an already poor offense, mediocre offense, I'm still liking that battle. I agree. It would be nice to have an extra wing. I'm surprised we missed out on Thad Young, which is another great pickup by the Suns. That would have been nice. Getting another wing or something in there, but we have 3 bigs. According to Adam, we should play 2 of them together. We're just a little limited in what we can realistically do. And I think we were all on the same page of even at the trade deadline, how much of this rotation are you willing to give up to get the guy, and who is ultimately that guy that really vaults you over, that you would be now
this trade deadline.
Now the size of this team is perfect. The personnel is perfect. Everything about this team is perfect. It's never going to happen, man.
And that guy would have been
it's never going to happen.
Grant. They would have had to put together some crazy offer.
Yeah.
And also, the second apron makes things weird for every team. There's a bunch of stuff going on around that. The reason the trade deadline was quiet, because all these owners are like, the fuck is this second apron going to do to us?
A lot of it is just Zoo needs to get back to 100%, because I'm getting incoming about this issue all the time on Twitter too. Somebody's saying we can't beat anyone with size, the Cavs, the T-Wolves, the Pels, the Lakers. It's like, okay, how many games did Ivica Zubac actually play against those teams, and how many games was he not on a minutes restriction? Oh, like none of them. The first two, I guess, against the Lakers, and you could say he dominated Anthony Davis in that second game, and the Clippers probably still should have won that. But Mason Plumlee has to play better. Like that's part of the solution. Mason Plumlee has to play better. He's supposed to be one of the best backup bigs in the league, considering he was starting for a team. Granted, it was Charlotte, but he was having a career year. So maybe it's just health, timing, rhythm for him. And then Ivica Zubac, it's getting back to 100% and getting back in that flow he was with James Harden. Yeah. Or maybe it's Chimezie Metu.
Maybe. Sign all the bigs. Will, what's this? Why don't you read this take from Blank Slate? Because this is one that I think Adam is going to have things to say about, which I'm excited for.
All right, so Blank Slate said Lou needs to reset the offense, should be less focused on ISO to get the stars going and more on quicker ball movement, getting the ball from side to side, using paint touches to set up threes, backdoor cuts, and more space for the one-on-one attacks, role players, not getting enough field goal attempts. Adam, what say you?
Let's just upend the offense completely. Ty Lue criticized the team last night for not getting the ball side to side, for not moving it enough along the perimeter. The message was there. The players didn't do it enough. I think there's a shock factor when you're going up against a team that always has a hand in your face on every shot, like Minnesota had last night, when typically you're the best three-point shooting team in the league because you are finding open shots, and they weren't last night. So a bit of a culture shock for the Clippers, even though they had played them once. That's how good the Timberwolves are defensively. They're the best defense by a significant margin so far this season.
Is it alarming that we basically heard Kawhi, though, say the same thing about the offense a couple weeks ago? We were all really excited considering like where the Clippers were in their hot streak, and it's still more of the same, or is this just fatigue heading into the All-Star break?
Their offensive rating going into that game last night was 123 since November 17th.
Jeez.
It was historic.
Reset it to 200.
So Ty Lue should change it because there's one team that gives them problems, and it's really more about a roster thing than an offensive principle thing.
We need 29 different strategies, one for each team.
Smarter than Ty Lue. Give us the intel. Tell us what to do.
No, I think it's crazy. I think it's right. Like reset the offense. What does that even mean?
They have had.
What about this? Every rotation player just gets 10 field goal attempts.
Boom, boom.
Yeah,
50 right there for the starting five. You're doing good. Yeah, I don't know, and it's also So
it's asinine. Let's call it what it is. It's asinine.
The point you made about the adjustment. There was Kawhi got the ball in the paint yesterday, went up to do like a layup, saw Rudy, and then had to go out and do this awkward look. He made it. Do this awkward looking fadeaway. And
I love that play.
I did too, but it was a perfect example of like, this team is gigantic. You're playing the biggest, best team in the league. So
one of the biggest teams ever. Really, when you have Rudy Gobert and Cat
next to Cat
and Naz Reid, who comes in off the bench and is this
Ant is large as well. The Clippers have an Ant issue too. He's very good and usually tends to figure things out about the Clips.
They may have no answer for him when he's at his best. Nobody does.
Right, just like Kawhi.
There are trade-offs. Like when we talk about, the Clippers don't have this to match up with this team. Every other team is going, damn, how do we match up with the Clippers in this way? That is the league. There are no perfect teams. It's just how well can you mask your flaws in a 7-game series?
No perfect teams, just perfect fans. That's all we got in the NBA. We had some not insane takes, which was nice to see. Most of them were not crazy. Dub1220 said it's February, our biggest coming off an injury with time limitations. We just got back from a 2-week Grammy trip playing 8 games in 13 days. It's the week before All-Star. Let's not overreact losing to a good team. Note the things we learned in the matchup and apply later.
Love that. Very measured take.
Thank you, Dub.
There were some good
things. Put it in the journal. No?
Put it in the journal, bro. Journal.
They got to go at Mike Conley more.
Yeah. Yes, they do.
When they did, it was effective, although the T-Wolves picked up on it pretty quickly and a double came. But that's how Paul George got a couple looks. And he and Kawhi, well, on that play you mentioned, Kawhi, instead of going in the restricted area, he backed it out and had the 6-foot fadeaway. They were intent on getting to the basket. On that play where Paul George crossed up Anthony Edwards, he tripped, obviously. But he went at Rudy Gobert for a really acrobatic lefty layup.
Yep.
It was incredible. And they didn't shy away. They kept testing him. That's what has to be done against Minnesota. You got to understand going into it, you're going to lose some of those battles. It doesn't matter. You have to keep going at him. That's just what it is. So I think there was some game plan stuff that I liked there.
I also think, and maybe Wilson, so you didn't, Adam, do you think that this game was managed like a playoff game would be by Ty Lue? I don't think there was. I think we're going to see a couple different avenues the Clippers take in the playoffs against this team.
Well, one, because Zubac's on a minutes restriction just kind of upends all the rotations and lineups and minute allocations. But yeah, I don't think Coach Lue ever gives too much away during a regular season, especially against a team where you might likely have to see them in the playoffs. I just don't. I think, like what Will was saying earlier, it just still feels like the Clippers in a playoff series have a few more moves, have a few more tricks up their sleeve that we have not seen at all this season. In fact, Coach Lue talked about it recently. They're still putting in some of the offense and will be during the All-Star game. They haven't even, uploaded all the offensive game plans yet and all the schemes. So this is still a team that has James Harden, who's been on the team for 40 games now. And I think that may come into effect with some of the floaters being missed here and there. I think there's a comfortability issue because when he goes to that floater, part of how he gets that shot off is because of the threat of the pick and roll. It gets him to that point, but then you don't know if he's going to throw a lob or get the floater. And I think he's been a little bit still indecisive at times with that in-between shot there. So it could get better.
There's nothing like a business trip to Indiana to get the vibes right.
To get everything nailed down.
That's what they need.
Will, do you have any more thoughts on the Clippers versus large teams before we have to do another ad break?
No, I don't think so.
Do you guys want to see them pick up someone still? I said Metu.
I don't know, man.
Okay, let me ask you this.
I don't know who's available.
If this game last night happened before the trade deadline, do you think they would have made a move?
No.
Do you think this game was that much of a red flag or alarming?
I do not. Because they had red flags before this game. They had the same red flag, I guess.
But it's like now you get them twice at home. You lose by 21 this time.
True. Yeah.
There's a little bit more data now.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I don't know if that would make the front office, feel a little bit more urgency to bring someone else in. I still think Plumlee's got to play better. Yeah. Daniel Tyson's play better, and they're still figuring out with ZUBAC, like who gets to play each night and how much with those guys.
ZUBAC. ZUBAC.
I was like, you call him ZUBAC now?
Give me the name tag.
Adam goes straight to. I call him ZUBAC when he doesn't play good.
ZUBAC.
Yeah. All right, coming up, we're going to be talking. The Clippers are going to retire at least one jersey at Intuit, it seems. And then the All-Star break is in LA. And we have a fun giveaway to talk about, thanks to Giveaway Adam, who just finds things to give away, which is great. If you're watching over on youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast, you don't have to worry about this. But if you're listening, the ads have been loud for some people. If that's been the case for you, go ahead and turn it down. We got ads coming up in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back in Clips and Dip Season 2, Episode 51. I'm Adam Moslin. We got Chuck Mockler and Will Updike here. We'll also have tomorrow night a little Clips and Double Dip. I think Will's coming on, but then again, if the Clippers lose the Golden State Warriors, it could be Chuck.
It's a loss. I'm booked.
Will's out of town.
So a little bit of miscellaneous here to close things out, guys. They are retiring a jersey at Intuit Dome. I didn't get the email. So maybe Chuck, if you got it,
I saw it on Twitter. Someone tagged me. I'm not a season ticket holder.
Well, what was the verbiage? How did they describe it?
Basically, let me find this damn tweet.
I didn't get the memo.
Thank you for. Oh, this is from Ron Sue. Oh, thank you for tweeting us out. It's Ron. He's been a listener for a very long time.
So, bro.
Check out POC Culture. He said the email says, as we get closer to moving into Intuit Dome, we got to wondering, who do our fans think is most deserving of a jersey retirement if and when we reach that point somewhere down the line? So we thought we'd ask. This marketing team is so fucking bad. It would be fantastic if you could complete a super quick survey on this. 4 questions only. The survey will be open through Wednesday, February 14th. Wow. Great copy. Who do you guys think is going to get their jersey retired at Intuit? They got to put something up for Ralph. I don't know if it's a jersey.
It could be.
A mustache for Ralph would be very fun.
Chick Hearn has a jersey, right? He does.
Yeah.
He has a freaking statue, yeah. How about Bob McAdoo?
Yeah,
I know he didn't play in LA, but
but
I mean that doesn't matter when you're talking about jerseys.
I love that.
or the Clippers. It's like,
Especially because they have gone back with versions of the old Buffalo Braves jerseys.
Right.
They've implemented that into their city editions over the years.
those were cool.
Those were nice. I like those.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like it's got to be all of the big 3 from Lob City. Like no matter what people's feelings or whatever, like I don't think the Clippers are not going to retire Chris Paul, Blake, and DJ's numbers.
No, they definitely should. I don't know if it's not going to happen anytime soon, obviously, with 2 of them still technically playing. But no, all three are still playing.
Yeah.
Blake is, a free agent at the moment, but
should we sign Blake? Would we have beat the Timberwolves if we signed Blake? Do you guys think
that call last night?
Oh yeah, I bet. I got the tweet. Will, anyone else? Who do you think's going up there? I mean, Milos Teodosic's got to get up there pretty soon.
I'd love Lou Will's jersey to be retired.
I think that is totally
I would really like both the bench guys. Like I would love if Jamal and Lou Williams both got retired. I know we'll probably get shit on for that by like the wider media or whatever. Those guys were kind of really
wider
special.
Media.
I mean, wider fan base or whatever.
Mainstream media hates this pod. I'll tell you that much.
I don't know. I think it would be cool. It's 4 total 6 Man of the Year awards that
It's cool
that were won while they were Clippers. Like, I mean, I think that's kind of cool.
I'd like to see Elton Brand and that red jersey get retired.
Yeah.
Elton Brand was part of a team and the leader of it that helped put the Clippers on the map, that 06 team that went to the second round and had his best years as a Clipper. He was dominant and probably one of the more underrated players in the game at that time. Before the Achilles injury, Elton Brand was an absolute beast.
Yeah.
You think we could do like a jersey retirement? It'd be like Baron Davis and Laura Dern just to commemorate that 1 month while they were dating.
That'd be cool. Do you think V. Stiviano's visor's going up?
Ooh.
They should.
Did you see people were like crapping on the Clippers for putting the high school jerseys up too? And I'm like, what?
So weird.
What's wrong with you?
So weird.
Truly, what's wrong with you?
Let us have our stuff. It's our house. We can have whatever stuff we want in our house.
I mean, you would just be so. I just feel like you would be so psyched on that if when you visit as a kid,
Yeah.
It's great for it's celebrating the city and the youth. What are we?
Yeah.
How could you criticize that?
I hate the youth and I hate the city. That's right. That's what people are saying. Like or the state.
That's the tease for this episode. By the way,
it's not. Yeah, it's not even like it's like Southern California. Like it's like even larger than just People who don't like that can go to hell. I think those are all good retirement options. If you don't like our options, leave a comment and we'll thumbs down it. Or let us know on Twitter what you guys think.
Danny Manning?
I don't think Danny Manning's making it.
He still had good years.
It'd be cool, but I don't know if I don't know. No disrespect to the Manning family, the Danny Manning family. I don't know about Peyton. All right, we're going to play a little Love, Marry, Quarantine here. The All-Star break is in LA.
Oh, Cat Mobley. I want to see Cat Mobley's jersey retired.
Corey Maggette. Maggette has to have
spicy spaghetti. That makes sense.
Put he and Elton Brand in the same day. That'd be great.
You could
put the knuckleheads in.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that would be cool.
Because there's like eras, that I feel like whatever.
I'd retire all the jerseys if it was my way. No one would have any numbers. We'd have to make up new numbers.
Oh, yeah, I guess I didn't think
You're
about
like
the implications of that. Like, you can't use the number.
I'm number 47.
Like the unlicensed old NBA games where
Yeah.
you just can't have a city or a number.
You can pick a number between 99 and 82. That's what you can wear on my franchise.
Goofy numbers, though, would be kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that. All right, the All-Star break is in LA. We had a thing on here to guess Kawhi and PG's stat lines, but I think we all want zeros across the board for the All-Star game for those two guys. Don't play.
Yeah.
Or play and take a really funny foul, someone really funny, and then it'll be
the game is really a tough watch. It has become a complete spectacle of just people mocking the NBA and how little these guys care. Like, it doesn't make sense. If you're going to have all these spectacular highlights, they kind of only work nowadays because we've seen everything when someone's trying to play defense against it at the same time. When it's just open gym stuff, it's not nearly as impressive.
Yeah. Big dunk.
It's not like – it's just not indicative of the talent level of any of the players participating in the All-Star game. I honestly, I don't understand who it's for. To be perfectly honest,
for little kids, I think.
Is it
grow the game
for the cash, baby?
But like, you're gonna be excited about the game, like watching some kind of shitty basketball.
Kids don't know ball, so yeah.
That's why you hate them, and that's why you hate them.
Hey, full circle. It's like a
when you realize how much it sucks, that's your coming of age ball moment. Like,
yeah, people are like, "Oh,
damn, these guys don't care.
Yeah,
they're not being competitive."
Yeah. So they also
you get the ball brain.
Sure. So the All-Star game is in Indiana. What are we going to do? How can Clippers players... I totally got this wrong. I wrote this as if the All-Star game was in LA, so I totally biffed this. So this is for next year.
I said Indiana.
I know. I got it wrong. I wrote this like 7 hours ago when I was tired, so that's my bad. How are the Clippers players when the All-Star game
so you thought the All-Star game was going to be in LA this whole time?
Just this morning.
Oh, okay.
Because when I was writing the rundown, I was like, oh, shit, All-Star break. Yeah, let's get this going.
Did you think you were busy this weekend?
Not at all. Not at all. When the All-Star game is in LA, as everyone knows, is next year. I'm thinking of ways Clippers players can make people feel welcome. It's a big city. It's hard to traverse. The options here are Paul George puts in a shift for the DTLA safety team, which, if you've been to downtown LA, are the people in the purple shirts who ride the bike and give you directions and protect you from maybe some situations happening. The other option, Russell Westbrook, Star Maps tour guide. He's in the van. He's got the mic. Maybe you're doing his version of Stars. People feel welcome. Third option, James Harden handing out free samples of his wine as you leave your gate at LAX. You enter the city. You know how Hawaii, you get the lay.
I think
James Harden's giving you wine.
I feel like it should be on the plane because that's like way better. Like every flight to LAX, hey, for those 21 and over, you can get a free glass of James Harden's wine.
No, any ticketed customer gets it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
They still try to cut it with a ton of ice and go cheap on you.
yeah, he's icing it.
Just because, like, when you get out at the airport, it's like, man, I got to get my bag. I'm assuming he's handing these out in glass, in
it's a very large glass,
like wine glass. I'm like, I got to carry this around and go get my bag, and
it's got a top with a straw coming out of it, though.
Yeah, got to get on the stupid shuttle to get to the Uber Lyft pickup. I mean, I'm busy.
I'm busy.
I can't hold a glass of wine.
All right, so you're not liking the wine one. Which I think Paul George downtown on a bike.
Yeah. I'm loving that. I think I'm marrying the Russell Westbrook Star Tour though.
He would crush that.
Great. That's great.
Yeah, Russ would crush that. Adam?
Yeah, I'm going with Russ first, then the wine with James Harden, then Cyclist P.
It's not a night shift for Paul George either. He's there in daytime hours, so he's not by the CVS on 7th.
Well, he's going to miss all those matinee games then.
I saw one of those guys one time, like they're like on the mountain bikes, try to pass a car in a right-hand turn lane on the right side. This guy. It was very slow. It was very slow, but like they came off the bike, obviously.
Hey, sometimes,
not laughing. They were fine. They were totally fine. They
Well,
were just
if they
a
were
little.
fine,
They
you
were.
can
They were
laugh.
just a little embarrassed.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Sometimes you're in the zone. You know. You think you're.
You put that purple polo on, you're not seeing anything. You're got blinders up, dude. You're going as fast as you can. He had to
That
help
blood
some.
doping running through you.
Yeah, he had to help someone find the fancy peanut butter jelly place at Grand Central. I don't even know if that place is still there. All right, Adam, do you have the giveaway item? We barely teased this up top, but we have a giveaway, folks. If you stick around to Clips and Dip, you will see how you can win free stuff.
As we have done in the past, giving away a T-shirt that became a pillow and
Which
a
is awesome.
jersey. We now have a IVICA ZUBAC. Is this a bobblehead? What do you call it?
Some people on Twitter were calling it something else.
What were they calling it, Chuck?
I'll let people go on Twitter and figure that out. We got the ZUBAC bobblehead.
Yeah,
ZUBAC. The
it's a
ZUBAC bobblehead.
Brought to you by Lexus.
Yeah, shout out Lex. I do Lexus ads if they gave me a free car every month
I'll get there January 1st.
that I own.
If I could stay in that cage underneath the crypto.com. If I could dance in the cage, I'd do some free commercial work.
Do you guys want to guess Big Zoo's birthday? Because it's on the back of this.
It's like August 15th. It's my birthday, right?
No, weirdo.
What is it?
March 18th, 1997. But you had some real stalker vibes there with how quick you came
I
up
thought
with
there was
that.
a Clipper player on my same birthday for some reason.
No, me and Paul George are Moon Brothers.
You're not.
You're
Moon
mistaken.
Brothers. You're not Moon Brothers.
So are we doing it the traditional way here on Clips and Dip? Best comment below
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
on YouTube.
Yeah, we'll pick it. When are we gonna pick it?
And we're not shipping this bad boy international. I'm sorry.
We might.
No.
U.S.
might.
only.
Keep it in the States.
We're not keeping it in the States.
All right, Chuck's paying for it.
I will pay for the shipping this time. You can comment from anywhere, and if we like it, could be funny, could be insightful. We'll pick this. We'll pick it on the next episode. That seems fair, right?
Yeah. Could be a song.
If you write a song,
just a little jingle maybe.
whole song. Oh, I'm not. No jingle. Whole song.
What's
Bridge.
the jingle?
3
It is
verses.
in mint condition. Let's hope IVICA ZUBAC gets back to that condition as well.
Love it. Perfect.
I
way
take
to
a good jingle is as good as any song.
Yeah. You know what jingle I've had stuck in my head?
I listen to that Cars for Kids one every day by myself.
I have, and this is such. If anyone listening or watching knows this jingle, please let.
Is
me
it going to
know.
be O'Reilly?
No, it's Dino's gas station from Montana. Do you remember those? Will? It was right
No.
here at Dino's. We know you're always on the run. Right here at Dino's. It's been stuck in my. I haven't been there in 17 years. It's been stuck in my head for 3 days. Hope Dino's doing okay.
You ever seen that movie Pie where the guy takes the drill to his head at the end?
That's what I'm living right now. That's how I felt when I looked at the Clippers injury report today. I got the Ryobi. I switched in the new battery. I put the longest drill bit I could find.
I've had a long slogan stuck in my head. Not even it's not even a jingle.
What's the slogan? And then we promise we will get out of it.
If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save money, that's Archie Concord Ford's business.
Oh. Good luck, Archie Conklin Ford.
The only thing
I
I
love
remember is give no quarter.
Oh yeah, we got to get an update on that. Someone please let us know how much money
Rip
we
the
have
net.
to donate. How many nets have been ripped? None. Paints have been broken, barely double digits. All right, we have to get out of here. We're doing a double dip tomorrow after the game against the Warriors. If anything happens with Kawhi and Paul George in the All-Star game, we'll talk about it. There's going to be a preview pod for the very important games next week. We hope everyone has a good All-Star break. If you want to catch up on episodes, relive that 9-game winning streak. We had some great work during that 9-game winning streak. If you're coping with the injury of Kawhi, where could people find old episodes and maybe review us if they felt like it?
So you can get this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. If you felt so inclined, you can leave us a little rating or review over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It helps us out. If you want to get the full Clips and Dip experience, you got to tune in, subscribe. That's over at youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast. And we're always available on Twitter for the most part. That's at Clippers Pod.
For the most part.
For the most part. Mostly.
Before we send people out of here,
we mostly tweet at night.
for those new to the pod, we do a wonderful thing where Adam says a positive thing at the end of the episode. Adam, what's the positivity? Day before the third year in a row the Clippers play the Warriors on Valentine's Day.
Our friend Joey Lynn asked Kawhi Leonard last night after the Clippers got thoroughly dominated and lost by 21 how close they are to being a championship caliber team. And Kawhi responded saying, quote, "We're right there. We've been winning games, as everybody has seen. There's ways for us to get better. That's what's scary. Now is the time to turn it around." Now, they won't have him tomorrow, but they have the All-Star break off. Guys can heal up, get refreshed before the Clippers version of March Madness with 17 games coming up.
I love March Madness. I love that positivity. Hope everyone has a great break. Enjoy the cold weather. It might rain. We hope you stay dry. Yeah, nothing else to say other than the usual. Hope everyone has a great night. And as always, let's go Clips.